So following on from my previous video, I'm now going to be doing the return journey from West Sussex to Aberdeenshire. It's just under 600 miles as before, but the difference is that it is an Easter Saturday, which is one of the busiest travel periods of the whole year. So we're going to get in the car and we're going to see how that drive turns out. Okay, so we are heading first of all to Share.octopus Services, and that is predicting a 12% battery charge for when we get there, and we'll see how well that turns out. So the battery is 100% charged, and the temperature outside is 9 degrees, so quite a lot milder than when we started out in Aberdeenshire. So that should give us a nice big advantage. So we are now in Guildford, and we are just about to get onto the A3, and then we will be back on the fast roads heading out and north to Scotland. So I'm now on the M42 driving north around Birmingham. The battery is coming up to 50%. We've got 133 miles driven, and in terms of how many miles left we've got 106 miles left. We're predicted to arrive at Share.octopus northbound services at 10% battery charge. So in terms of energy consumption, we are doing just over 250 watt hours per mile, so that's pretty good. Temperature is about 9 or 10 degrees, and the traffic is very light. It's calm winds, so it's all told, it's pretty good. So I started just before 5 o'clock, as I did before. My strategy, as always, when it comes to long distance journeys, is start early and get past all of the traffic bottlenecks, such as the M25, Birmingham, Preston, before the traffic builds up. That will maximise my chances of getting a place at the supercharger at Share.octopus without needing to queue. So we are now approaching Keele Services. Now Keele Services is my contingency in case Share.octopus is too busy, but as we can see, there is plenty of stalls available at Share.octopus, so we'll just carry on to Share.octopus. Still predicting about 13% charge at Share.octopus, and the battery is now being preconditioned for that recharge at Share.octopus. So we're now coming up to Share.octopus Services. We're about a mile away. The battery is at 11%, so we are pretty much right on the forecast battery performance that was initially predicted when we started our journey. Right, let's get charged up. My next plan is to get to Eurocentral Supercharger in the Central Belt. Now that's just going to be a contingency. What I want to do is get to Abington Supercharger, but my experience is that in the early afternoon it can be fully occupied, but Eurocentral is reliably vacant. So we're at about 45% after charging up from 11%. We need to get up to about 75, 80% before we head off. So I'm reckoning we're going to be here for another 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll make our way. The traffic yesterday on Good Friday was predictably terrible. The M25, Birmingham M6, the M6 at Stafford, the M6 at Stoke, the M6 where it merges with the M61 at Preston, the M6 on the way up to Lancaster, all of that was completely congested. The M80 at Cumbernauld was also congested as well. Okay, so now I've recharged sufficient to get to Eurocentral supercharger with 10% charge. So I've been here for about 20 minutes. We're at a battery level of 71%. Now, the last time I was here, I charged the battery up to 85%, and I got to the supercharger with just 3% spare charge. The difference between now and then was that then I had winter tyres on and it was colder and the roads were wet. Today the weather's warming up and we have a slight tailwind as well, which helps considerably. So let's get out of here. So it's 186 miles to Eurocentral. Well, here we are on the M6 at Carlisle. This is where I do my initial supercharger availability appraisal, and what I can see is that both Gretna and T-Bay services are fully occupied at the moment. That doesn't surprise me. Gretna only has 4 charging stalls, but so far Abington has got 4 charging stalls available out of 6, and Eurocentral, which is my backup, has got 8 charging stations available out of 12. In terms of predicted battery to Eurocentral, we're at 9%. That had fluctuated quite a lot. It had gone all the way down to 5% predicted battery, which got me a bit nervous, but it's up to 9%. We are now approaching Abington supercharger. We've got 4 available stalls, so I'm going to elect to go here. We've got 14% battery at the moment, and I've got a feeling we would be very tight getting to Eurocentral. But now we've spent a lot of energy preconditioning the battery here, so we've got no choice but to use Abington supercharger. Looks like I caught the lunchtime rush. Right, let's get out of here. So here at Abington, we've only got 1 supercharger stand left. What's happened is that the charging speed is reduced by half because they're all shared power supplies. So what I'm going to do as a strategy is charge up just enough to get to the next supercharger, which is going to be either Perth or Dundee. I've navigated to Dundee and we only need to get an extra 30% more charge compared to where we are. So I'm only expecting to stay here for another 10 to 15 minutes instead of a whole hour if I'd want to navigate somewhere else. It's a busy supercharger station. It's a busy service station. I'm not too impressed with the design of the car park here. You just seem to be stuck behind someone who's parking or someone who's trying to get out of a car parking space. So we're going to be heading to Perth supercharger next. I've charged up just enough to get us there with 15% charge, and if we do get there with 15% charge, that's excellent. If we get there with less, as we had with Eurocentral, then at least we've got a bit of margin. So I didn't do any additional waiting than necessary. I had my lunch whilst I was supercharging, so it's time spent anyway. When you arrive at a supercharger station like that, you might find that there are a few stalls next to somebody else, and it would be nice to know which car is closest to leaving. And I'm sure the supercharger network knows the state of charge and probably knows the next destination that the next car is going to be doing. So it's probably got a reasonably educated guess as to which car is going to leave their stand next. It can advise you as to which parking stand to use. That doesn't happen, but it would be a nice feature to add. So if anyone in Tesla is watching this video, please include that feature. We are about a mile from the Broxton roundabout in Perth, and we have got about 14% charge on the battery, and we have got 10 stalls available at the Perth supercharger. Right, let's get this thing charged up. So I'm getting the full 150 kilowatt quota for me. So it's much better to come here and charge up after you've been to Abington for just enough time. Because at Abington I was only getting 50 kilowatts of charging speed, which is just far too slow. The other thing about Abington was that on the way down I was paying 36 pence per kilowatt hour. I'm guessing that's the off-peak price. On the way back, it was 43 pence per kilowatt hour. One thing I will just show you is what the Charge Place Scotland network looks like. So over here, you can see the Charge Place Scotland network. And you can see they're all stacked up. It's very popular here. I'm guessing the supercharger network, once it's opened up to all these other cars, all these other cars are going to be using that from now on. So what can I say about the Perth supercharger? It's in the middle of a park and ride, and I actually was following another Tesla, and that other Tesla went the wrong way, and I thought to myself maybe they knew better, but as it was, I went the wrong way as well. So the mark on the map you can trust, but in terms of facilities, you really don't have too much here. There's probably a toilet at the park and ride bus stop, but other than that, you really haven't got too much reason to hang around here. The Dundee supercharger is better because it's in a hotel car park, so if you want some food, you've got the restaurant available there. You've also got a good clean toilet there as well. The one thing I will say about the Dundee supercharger is that at night time, it's not that well lit at that supercharger. Here, well, I can see street lights at the very least, which is a good thing. So, time for my second lunch, and then I'll be on my way to the next stop. So that is me just out of Perth supercharger. I don't think I was there for any longer than 15 minutes. And yeah, it really just goes to show I just had enough time to do my camera work and have a small snack and have a chat with someone who's seen my YouTube channel and approached me and said hello, and I say hello to Ross. If you watch my previous videos, I talked about the possibility of doing my shopping run in Dundee, where at Tesco's they've got a rapid charger, a 50 kilowatt rapid charger, and I decided against that. And the reason for that is because they've only got one rapid charger at the Kingsway Tesco in Dundee. And the problem with that is that if it's occupied, then the whole plan just falls flat on its face. So just before I took off here, I checked the PodPoint app, and indeed the CCS charger at Tesco's Perth is at Tesco's Dundee is indeed occupied. So that plan wouldn't work. If it did, it would have saved me probably 15 minutes, because I'm going to be doing my shopping in Inverurie without a top-up. So now I've got enough charge to get me back to my house with 15% charge remaining. Well, after 550 miles of driving on dual carriageways approximately, as of this roundabout coming up, we are now just on single carriageway road for the remaining 10 miles of driving. 1 mile till I get home. Another journey completed, and if we have a look at the trip, and an average energy consumption rate of 253 watt hours per mile. So time to get this thing charged up. Overall, this was about as optimal as it gets in terms of a charging strategy. It's best to charge up just enough to get to the next supercharger and then charge up again. That way you get the fastest supercharging speeds, and so long as the diversion isn't all that great, you're fine. Now, Eurocentral always has been and always will be a backup supercharger option. It does require a 10-minute diversion from the M74 onto the M8 in order to get to that charger. But in terms of future videos from myself, the torque of my battery is unfortunately delayed. The news from my electrician is that the battery will no longer be available in April. It's now delayed until July because of supply shortages. I can only imagine that could even be delayed even more because of the lockdowns which are happening in China right now. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.